All right, listeners, hello and welcome back to Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. I'm so happy you are all here with us this week. My name is Colleen Biggs, and I am your host of Lead Up for Women. And I'm so excited that things are really looking up these days. And it's really nice to be able to go out again a little bit more. I mean, gyms are still closed here. We have some other things happening and going on, but for the most part, the sun is still shining. And if you live in Arizona, the sun is blasting at about 115 degrees every day. And we are enjoying as much as we can of the summer. I actually went with my daughter and grandkids to the pool the other day. That was the first time I've done that this summer. We have to make reservations. It's kind of a pain, but I believe it's the new normal. So patience should probably be the top of our game of what we are utilizing every day with people, with individuals, with businesses, and really just praying for those businesses that are still holding on, that have been trying to do the best they can through this pandemic. So our hearts and our prayers are out with them. And I'm really excited for today because we are going to be talking about how to work the front lines or kiss corporate goodbye. So as I always say, you just need to find your purpose. And someone said something to me the other day, what Mark Twain said, and I was really moved by it. And I wrote it down immediately. And I wanted to share with you that Mark Twain had said, the two most important days of your life is the day you were born and the day you figure out why. And I was like, whoa, how come I can't come up with something that impactful? I was like, that is so impactful. And it's impactful because why are we here? Why do we exist? What is our purpose? So what is your purpose? Is it doing what you're doing in the corporate world and you're very happy with it? Or are you not? And you're ready to kiss corporate goodbye? Well, we have some answers for you today on those pieces. So I'm very excited to be able to speak to our guests. But before I get to them, I want to remind you about some awesome webinars we have coming up. We have our Teaching Tuesday webinars. We have two of them coming up, one August 25th and one on September 8th. So we have Debbie Corey talking about strategic planning. If you own a business, you need to attend this free webinar because she has done webinars for us all the way from when we went into the pandemic, talking about the PPP loans, the EIDL loans, how to apply for them, when to apply for them, who qualifies. She is very, very, very well educated in this area, and it changes very quickly. So I definitely recommend, if you're needing to understand financial strategies right now, that you come to that free webinar on August 25th. I'll drop the link in the comments. I'll also drop the link on our podcast host site. So it'll be right there at your fingertips. So you can click on it. These are free, by the way, so no excuses not to show up. September 8th, Wendy Yates is going to be speaking on time management. Who couldn't use that right now? Because I feel like we have thousands and thousands of meetings on Zoom every day, and our hips are killing us because we sit more than we're moving around and walking around. So she's talking about stop wasting time and build your team. So I'm really excited about that one on September 8th. And again, we have the second and the fourth Tuesday. We just launched our new Lunch and Learns. We've already got about 10 people registered for the first one. That's going to be September 3rd. And I'm going to be teaching on how to master your success. So I'm very excited about that. We've got some special guests and you get to network. So this is a great opportunity for you to meet other women in the Lead Up for Women community and for you to be able to do a lot of purposeful connecting and networking. So it's all for you. Registration is available on our site. We'll drop that link in there as well. All right, that was all I had to cover today. So let's start with our sisters. So the two ladies that you see on the screen at the bottom, and for those of you that aren't able to see them, these are two sisters that started a company called Kiss Corporate Goodbye. And they have an amazing story of how they did it, why they did it, how they're helping women do it. And I think it's a soft spot in my heart, because I did kiss corporate goodbye. I said goodbye to that life and I started my own business. I wouldn't go back. I'm really happy with what I'm able to do and have in my life and the freedoms that I have, just like they do. But what they do is they coach women on how they can provide and have their own business. And I love what they stand for. So Shari and Kimberly, and Shari, I muted you, sorry. Shari and Kimberly, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Hi, ladies.
Hi, and thank you too, Colleen, for all that you are doing for women. I mean, your programs are just phenomenal. So thank you for including us in them.
Yes. Well, I'm so glad you guys are here. And, you know, you guys have been overworked. You've had the mom guilt. You've gone through so many of the same feelings that we've all had while we were raising our children. And you found, I wouldn't say you found the balance. I believe you found the freedom to create your own priorities. That's what I like to say. There really isn't balance in life, but we have to look at our priorities to see what is our priorities and what do we want to put first. And that those change every day, right? Those are going to change every day. But tell me, I want to know, and I'm going to ask Shari first. Shari, what was the absolute breaking point that you can remember, like a pivotal time in your life that you were just like, I am done with this. I can't do this life anymore.
Well, funny you should ask. Happy to share. How long do we have? No. So prior to kissing corporate goodbye, I worked for several different Fortune 500 companies. And the last company that I worked for, it was a big beer company. And at the time they were owned by a big tobacco company. And as you can imagine, it was very male dominated. It was a profession that there weren't a whole lot of women. And, you know, the job was great at the beginning. It was fun. I got to entertain a lot, had nice expense accounts. Things changed when my first son was born. And along with his birth, my eyes just became opened, as you said, to priorities. And my family became my number one priority. He became my number one priority. And working a full-time job, entertaining in the evenings, it took its toll on my health. It took its toll on my sanity. And, you know, I found out a lot of things along the road. I found out that I was, you know, the only woman doing my job, yet I was underpaid quite a bit compared to what my male counterparts were being paid. So that was an aha, you know, just a lot of little ahas. But I'll never forget, you know, when you say breaking point, I think it was, you know, my job was to work with the Circle K was my account, and working with their buyers to bring beer into the stores, and distributors would bring the beer in, they would do the displays. However, there was one time when it was the PIR NASCAR races were in Phoenix, and I went out to the Circle K's to check those stores, and beer on the shelves were empty. And it wasn't necessarily my job to go stock the shelves, but I wasn't going to be there and not do that. And I remember being in the back of that cooler, throwing beer on the shelves. I hate being cold, for one thing. And I'm like, I have a college degree. Why am I, you know, it was kind of that breaking point right there. I'm like, I've got to find something else. I've got to do something else. And then, you know, not too much later after that, I ended up in the hospital with double pneumonia. As I said, it really took a toll on my health. And again, found out while I was in the hospital that there were people interviewing for my job. So that was the last straw.
Why is it, as ladies, we have to crumble to practically nothing and have something completely stop us in our tracks? A sickness, a death, it's something that is so catastrophic that we're like, okay, we'll stop. It's almost like God is like, these women are so powerful, you have to literally stop them in their tracks and slam the door on their face to get them to move to a different direction. All God has to do is nudge a man, and he's like, okay. You know what I mean? It's the craziest thing to me. And then I want to get to Kim, because I know Kim was very integral in kind of helping you with that transition from corporate, because of the business that she's been in and helping women with, and trying to convince you for years to be in with her. And so, Kim, talk to us a little bit about your journey in finding the business that you're with today and how you're helping women grow their businesses.
Sure. Well, my background was in marketing and advertising, and
Mhm.
I had a great career. I was actually doing what I wanted to do. I went to college to be in the magazine industry, and I loved what I did for a really long time. And then I got to this point where I was just exhausted. I felt like all I was doing was working. You talked a little bit about balance. I didn't feel like I had any of that. I felt like I was going to work, I was coming home, and by the time I went home, I just wanted to like veg out, read a magazine, binge watch something. And I felt really trapped because I'd spent my career in this industry and I had no idea what to do next. And it was actually Shari who really loved the idea of network marketing, building a home based business. And I really wanted nothing to do with it. I didn't understand that business model. I
Opposite.
Yeah, it was the opposite. I didn't understand the business model. I didn't think that you can make a good living. And I, wanted to be able to match my corporate income. And I just didn't know how. And I was sort of at the end of my rope, just, not living like my best life. Like I felt like I was made for more. I wanted to do more. I wasn't fulfilled. Shari was the one that like nudged me. She really understood the business model then, and I was adamantly against it. And then just one day I just got to that point where it was a time in my business where we had like this great year. We just broke all the records and there was no recognition, no big celebration. And it just felt like, wait, what? I'm working so hard for somebody else who doesn't even appreciate me and they're getting paid 10 times more. And so it was kind of at that point where I'm like, okay, Shari, just tell me a little bit more. And I really kind of just took a leap of faith and I jumped in and I was really committed to learning as I go. And I think, sometimes we have a tendency to overanalyze, to try to figure out the how. And it goes back to what you said at the beginning. It wasn't the how, it was the why. And I really had to think about the why. Like I wanted, more time. I wanted to do little things like exercise, take care of my health, work out. I had, bigger goals. And so it was really to not be attached to that how, but really focus on the why, which goes back to our original quote.
Yeah, absolutely. Focusing on the why is so important. All right, so we've hit the point that, and I apologize. I don't know why I always get the two of you mixed
Well,
up. I do that a lot, and I'm so sorry. I
no,
don't know why I do that.
and I have to give Kim credit because she's the one that really came up with the concept for Kiss Corporate Goodbye. And so she's the one that nudged me into that. So you were right, whichever way you do it. So
Yeah,
one of our businesses, I nudged her, and then the Kiss Corporate Goodbye platform, she nudged me. So it's all
we were
good.
just hearing from so many people who felt stuck and didn't have a pathway, didn't know what to do next, because kind of like you were saying, we wait till we hit that breaking point. But I felt that there were so many people that weren't fulfilled, that were looking at kind of even the next phase of their life and how to find more joy, have more balance, like have more freedom to do what you want when you want. And so that's why I'm like, let's help other people kiss corporate goodbye and show them different pathways. We can share what we did and just help them get in the right mindset of there's so many possibilities out there.
Yeah, and as my daughters were getting older, I think the biggest thing that they realized was they wanted to be able to raise their kids, but they also wanted to be able to contribute and have an income, even if it's paying for the kids' activities and all of their vacations, whatever it was. They weren't looking to be millionaires. They wanted to contribute, but they didn't want to have their children in daycare. They didn't want to have regular jobs every day. And I don't know if it's because they watched, their parents growing up and they don't want that life of, you having to work for corporate all the time. I'm not really sure, but they're all entrepreneurs now. And so I look at that and I say, I feel like the younger generations figured it out, right? They're like, I'm going to create the life I want. And then work is going to be included in that. But they pick and choose when they want to work. it's very admirable. I watch this from a distance.
100%.
They're very smart about that, and they never got really in the trap. And I think it was because of our age and our, how we were raised. And you go to college, and then you go to, you get a job, and you work, you have one job, and that's the job you stay at forever. They have 25 jobs on their resumes, and then they just decided, screw this, I'm going to make money on my own selling stuff on eBay or something, and they make great money at it. So I'm bringing that up because, ladies, so many of us, and I sent a message out the other day, we build our businesses and then we try to fit our lives in the little holes that are open in the business. And you started something because you're passionate about it, you love it, it's what you want to do, but then you quickly are enslaved to it because it's taking every bit of your time. And now you're unhappy because you have no time for your family, which is why you built the business in the first place. So you've got to build your life and understand what it is that you want and write it down. What are the things that are important to you? Me, freedom of time is like top of the list. That is the one thing, being in corporate for 30 some years, is the freedom of time and just being able to choose and not have somebody choose for me how I use my time. And that to me is a huge value. Where someone else, it might be taking their children to school in the morning and picking them up at the bus stop at the end of the day. That might be, at the top of their list. So what is at the top of your list of those things that are important? And I want all the ladies that are listening to think about that and write it down. And that's what you want to go for. And then you have to decide, how do you make that happen in your life? So let's get into that. Kim and Shari, how are you able to help women? So now you get a chance to talk about what it is that you do for the network marketing, how you, created Kiss Corporate Goodbye, and then what you're helping women do to be able to bridge that gap. Because it's a scary leap. I swear, every single female I talk to, and they're like, yeah, well, I can't do that. I have bills to pay. I think that's what everyone tells me. I can't afford to leave corporate and take on and do something on my own. And I always say, you can, but I understand that you don't think you can, but we would just need to work through numbers for you to figure that out. But how are you helping women do that?
I'll start with that because that's kind of a 3-4 part question.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that attracted me, Kim said that I was the one that understood the network marketing model right away. The thing that attracted me most, and it's mostly because at the time that I started my business, I had 2 boys that were 6 and 1. And now they're 22 and 16. So my why has definitely changed, but my why was to be at home with my kids. Very similar to what you were just sharing about your daughters. I didn't want the daycare situation. I did not do it for just a little bit of money, though. I wanted to make this a significant income, but I also wanted to make a significant difference in other people's lives. And so the thing that I love so much about the network marketing model, and what I think a lot of people misunderstand, for me, it wasn't just a little home-based business. It was an opportunity to be able to have it all, because the way that the way network marketing is set up, it's really, you are an entrepreneur because you are in charge of your own business. However, you have a lot of support. It's all about working as a team. It's all about leadership and developing a team. And it's about leveraging your time. For me, time was, at the top of my list as well. And I wanted to be able to have time to be at home with my kids, to do the drop-offs, to do all of the things that you mentioned. And this was the one business model that I found that I would be able to do everything. And that's really why I joined, because of the opportunity. And again, it is work. It's not a job where you work 40 hours a week and you have to be self-disciplined, but it is work. It is not easy, but it is simple. And the model makes it simple because there's a system to follow. It's very similar to a franchise in the sense that, if you have a franchise, you're given a system that works for that franchise. Network marketing is the same way. So you find a system that you can plug into to be able to leverage your time, that's what made so much sense to me, and still be able to earn an income. And the only way that you can earn an income is by helping other people. I thought, okay, I am all in. I came from a place where I was watching my back. People were trying to stab me in the back all the time. This is a business model where everyone's got your back, because, as I said, the only way to make it to the top is to help bring other people with you. So that whole paradigm shift from corporate to network marketing was huge for me. And, that's really what attracted me at the beginning, is just having that opportunity to be able to have the time freedom. And then with that comes personal freedom, becoming the best version of yourself, because there is a lot of personal growth. And then hopefully for people who use it really seriously as a business, then the financial freedom as well.
And I'll just add, I wasn't somebody that was just going to quit my job and start. I really, I did both, so I had to have 3 paychecks in a row that were, going to match my income. I was single, I didn't have a backup plan. So we're not saying everybody kiss corporate goodbye. What we want to do is help you have like a strategic plan and figure out what might make sense. And part of that is figuring out like what it is that you love and what you want to do. And a lot of, one of the things that happened to me, I started my network marketing business while I was working full time. So I was in the nooks and crannies, but through this business, it became this pathway for me to dream bigger and really figure out what I was passionate about and what I wanted to do. And I wanted to do things like, write a book and travel more and do that type of thing. And so what, it did was I was working full time. I was able to match my income and then really have choices. And so what we do is we kind of work with people, figure out what they're passionate about. And sometimes when you're so used to that 9 to 5, sometimes we forget to dream again. We forget what we're passionate about. And it takes a while. And so, we talk to people about how to have a side hustle. I mean, network marketing is not going to be for everyone. But for the right type of person, it is that pathway, or it can be that door that opens that can give you the breathing room, that can give you a community that's supportive, that can get you, that personal growth Shari was talking about, but really clarity. Because what happens is when you start to have extra income coming in, you feel less stressed and you feel like you have more time to breathe. I mean, we're not going to kid, income is important. We don't want anyone just quitting their job and rolling the dice. And so, what we like to do is just kind of guide people through the process and show them what is possible, what is probable, and to really get people dreaming big again.
Yes. So I did the leap and rolled the dice, and you really find out what you're made of when that
Absolutely.
happens. So, Lead Up for Women in the first year was doing great. And it took off to the point where I needed to travel to do luncheons every month. I was doing the podcast or the radio show then every week in the studio. I had so much going on with the magazine, and I couldn't stay full-time in corporate and do that because I really felt like it was a disservice to this company that was paying me. And I just can't be dishonest, but I know I needed to put full-time in it. And I know if I did really put the work and full-time in it, I would be able to grow it. So I did roll the dice, not knowing. And people in my family were like, hold the horse. You're going to do what? But I was like, just trust me. And I tell you what, you really learn what you're made of when you're forced to be able to pay your bills and make the money and gain back. Like you said, I left a very nice income. So when you get used to that lifestyle for all those years, you really don't want to change that lifestyle. And generally you've built bills around that lifestyle with a bigger home and maybe, a different car or whatever that is. And so I love the gain clarity piece. And so let's go back real quick. And I want everyone to know how to reach out to you, how to get in touch with you. And please offer one piece of advice while you're talking about how they can connect with Shari and Kim for Kiss Corporate Goodbye. Who is the person right now that you would say needs to connect with you? And what one piece of advice would you give them?
So I would say the person who who's making a good living, but not living their best life. Somebody who feels sort of stuck and unfulfilled and knows that they're made for more and wants to create an impact, but just doesn't know how to or what vehicle. And, the first bit of advice I would say is take 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes where you can get into a space and disconnect from everything and really think about what it is that you want. What do you want, not just between now and the end of the year, but what does the next year look like? What do 5 years? Because until you get clear on what you want, we feel like most of us feel like we're on that hamster wheel. And so I would say, get clear on what you want and then talk to people that are where you want to be or have what you want, and get that mentor, ask for advice, get that accountability, but start to really just dream again.
I love that. Shari, what about you?
And I would add too, the type of person right now that would be perfect for this as well is, someone who is either in college, out of college, the person who has the 25 jobs on their resume because they're not married to having a job for the rest of their life. We're finding right now, especially that, this group of millennials and young women in particular are really doing what you said. They're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do what my parents did, work 40 hours a week for 40 years for the same $40,000 and 4%, pay increase. So those are, types of girls, women that would love to work with and mentor too. I think about, gosh, if I would have known about, network marketing or entrepreneurship when I was in college or just right out of college, how different my life would work. And, like Kim, dream big, write what you want. And, I would take that even further and think about what your purpose is. What is your mission in this world? And, this is something Kim and I are still doing. We do this all the time. It's like, okay, time to reevaluate, 2020 threw everyone for a curveball, and really think about not only, like Kim said, where do you want to be at the end of this year, but in the next 3 years or next 5 years? And, going back to that significance piece, what do you want your legacy to look like? And I don't want to think doom and gloom with legacy, but, start building your legacy now. If you do have kids, like I do, what do you want for them? And how can what you're doing today leave that legacy for them?
Yeah, it's so important. Thank you for sharing that, ladies. That's beautiful. Let's tell our listeners how they can connect with you. And then, of course, we're going to have all the information. I'm going to put it in Facebook when we're done today with this interview, so everyone will have it there, as well as if you're listening on the podcast, it'll be right there. You guys can click on all the links, but just give them an idea of, how can they reach out to you? And what is the best way?
Yep. The best way is just to go to our website, which is Kiss Corporate Goodbye. And you can download a free ebook. You can set up a coaching call with us, a discovery call with us. You can just chat with us. You can reach out to us on social media at kisscorporategoodbye.com. Follow us on Instagram. Anything you type in Kiss Corporate Goodbye, that's us.
And we do have a podcast
Yeah.
as well on Tuesdays. And the format for our podcast is Kim and I do an episode, and then we interview somebody who has been able to kiss corporate goodbye and who has used network marketing as their pathway to be able to do it, whether they're still doing network marketing or whether that was their vehicle to really follow their passion. So, follow us on iTunes, leave us a great review if you love us.
What's the name of your podcast?
Kiss Corporate Goodbye.
I just wanted to make sure because you didn't say, so I wanted to make sure that was the name of it. And I know this is late to say this, ladies, but I remember when the two of these ladies walked in the room, I was in a conference at a round table. They walked in the back of the room and walked over far to the end, and they had black shirts on with Kiss Corporate Goodbye red on their shirts. And I remember turning around and you catching my eye, and I thought, I need to talk to those two ladies because just the significance of Kiss Corporate Goodbye, it was a huge shift in my life. Like massive changes in my life. And I thought, if they're helping people or stand for Kiss Corporate Goodbye, I know so many people that are unhappy and they need to learn how to do it. And if these ladies can help them with that bridge and that gap and really just help them get to where they want to be to live a better, healthier, happier life, I need to know them. And since then, they've written articles in our magazine. We've promoted them on our Thrive Thursday newsletter. They've been on the podcast twice. Like, I love these ladies. They are
we
amazing.
love you too. And thank you for understanding our vision and seeing how we can help more people.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're on the fence or you're getting that pull, like, I'm unhappy, especially because of 2020, and I'm really enjoying this working from home thing and being with my family. And now I figured out that I really want to be here more. And when they open back up the office, I have to go back to the office. What's that going to look like? Now's a great time to get in contact with them, for you to be able to figure out, how could I bridge this to be happier and be with my family at home. So thank you guys so much for being with us.
Thank you. We appreciate you, Colleen.
It's been wonderful. All right, Cindy, Miss Compassion. Her title is A Career in Compassion. And Cindy and I, this is our first time being able to have the chance to meet each other. And I was reading a little bit about your bio and how you bring nursing and the organizational psychology together to create a better caring healthcare. And I'm not fond of our healthcare system. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And so I can't wait to hear what you have to say today, Cindy, because I'm very excited to tap into a little bit more of your genius and what it is that you do. So let's go back a little bit and start. I would like to back up and start from the beginning of, why did you get into the healthcare system to begin with? You know, where did that passion come from? How did you fall into, dive into that industry?
That's a that's a really good question. I think that some of it ties back to my parents. You know, my mom was a woman who was a role model for unconditional love. So no matter what I did, she still loved me. So when I would fail and when I made decisions that weren't so great, oh, I would hear about them. But I learned about what unconditional love was, but also to do things and be brave and be bold, and that somebody always had your back, as you all were talking about a little bit earlier. And my father had a really unique background. He grew up in an orphanage. He was not an orphan. It was during the Depression. And he really taught me about, you can do whatever you want to do, but be kind. And in 1940, he was networking, but we didn't call it that then, but connect with people. So, you know, those two things together just laid the foundation to enjoy helping people, and then add some science to that.
Yeah, that's amazing to have parents so supportive, where your mother and father are both rooting you on and really being there when you fail to help brush you off and show you they still love you, by teaching you how to fail successfully, you know, and for you not to be afraid to take those steps. So were either one of them in the healthcare industry, or is that just a path you decided to take on your own?
I'm the only one. Neither one of them are in healthcare. Just
the only doctor. So did you go to college, like straight out of high school, to become a doctor, or how did that path start?
So I'm actually an organizational psychologist, and my father is as well. And I started my career as a volunteer for a drug hotline in St. Louis. And then I became a paramedic. And that was really my foray to nursing. And then I really thought organizational psychology was interesting and had a very big place in healthcare. And so I combined the two.
Wonderful. Help people understand that are listening how combining the organizational psychology and healthcare really elevates our healthcare system today. What are the benefits to that?
Well, I think that, you know, any organization involves teams and group dynamics. And we've certainly been learning a lot about burnout lately, not only in healthcare, but regardless of what organization you're in. And I think the burnout was very prevalent before the pandemic, and it's just sort of opened this, you know, burnout can of worms, for lack of a better word. And I think that when you focus on developing people skills, improving your group dynamics with candor, having a lot of openness, that creates a healthy work environment if you've got collaboration, communication, authentic leaders, and that is what impacts burnout.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how have you seen with COVID-19 and the coronavirus, how have you seen it impact business organizations with their disbursement now, right? So, they have their staff is dispersed and they're working remotely. How has that impacted, or is that something that you've touched through what you do?
Well, my colleagues at Psychological Associates, where I work, is a company that specializes in organizational psychology. We don't do any clinical work. You know, they've been working with a lot of corporations, and I think to me, what I've seen the most, and what my colleagues have shared with me, is how people have created, our new existence. That if you would have said last year, in this time last year, everybody, your whole workforce is going to go remote, people would have thought you were crazy. And they would have thrown up all sorts of barriers as to why they couldn't do it. Just like you were talking about, you leaving the corporate world, and Shari and Kim talking about people saying, I'm done. People would have said, there's no way this can happen. And it has happened. And it's been hard. Some things have not been hard, they've been easy. But there are businesses out there that are going, whoa, we're doing this, and we're doing it really well. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see, how do we change our world when we can't go back.
Right, right. And if this is what the new reality looks like, right? And how they
Exactly.
function, and the cost savings, I'm assuming,
Yes.
because of
Real
everyone
estate.
not
Yeah.
needing, yeah, real estate
Uh-huh.
and all of the office supplies that you have, right?
Hmm.
With printers and the electricity and
Hmm.
the furniture, and it goes on and on and on for
Hmm.
all of the costs, that
Hmm.
you have within an organization. So tell us a little bit about Cindy. What are you in the company? What are you working on today? What is your focus? What are you working on today? Tell us a little bit about some of the groups that you're in, and what your passions are.
Well, I tend to focus in the healthcare arena, and the my burning platform is a whole notion of meaningful recognition. And I think Sherry made a comment about not being recognized for her accomplishments. And meaningful recognition is about acknowledging how what a person did made a difference, but that when you're giving them that feedback, because it's a form of feedback, that it's important to them, so that it's meaningful to them, and it equals the contribution, and it's relevant to the user. So when I tell you that you made a difference in my life, that you're getting that message is meaningful to you, because that's really important. I think a lot of us, you talked a lot about purpose, is that people have, their purpose has been muddied, and this helps bring people back to their center of their purpose and why they matter.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, tell me so tell me about the Daisy Connection, because I have that in front of me, and I
Mhm.
want to learn more about the Daisy Connection and how the Daisy Award and the being compassionate more in the future. Like, how can we bring more compassion into collaboration into the workspace? So tell me a little bit more about the Daisy program.
Oh,
Daisy's my favorite flower. So I'm
ha
really
ha
excited
ha.
about this.
The DAISY Award stands for, it's an acronym for diseases that affect the immune system. And it was founded by a mom and a dad and a wife. And they lost their son, husband, very unexpectedly. And at the time, they had his wife, Tina, had a 6-week-old baby at home. And just went into the hospital, and 8 weeks later, Patrick Barnes passed away. And so when the mom and the dad, Bonnie and Mark and Tina, were having what they will tell you was a liquid dinner to figure out how to navigate the world without their beloved son and husband, they decided that they wanted to say thank you to all the nurses, because they said, it wasn't just how they took care of Patrick, but how they took care of us. And they, like the three of you, had a very strong marketing background. And so they created this award to recognize nurses for their extraordinary work. There's over 4,000 hospitals, I think in 28 countries now, that utilize the Daisy Award, and a patient or family member or a coworker can nominate a nurse for the Daisy, and it goes to a committee within that hospital. And then the committee reads through all these Daisy nominations, which are meaningful recognition and heartbreakers. It's feedback about how a person made a difference. It's performance based, but it's full of compassion, because that's what nurses do. We have compassion, and we combine that with clinical skill and to deliver care. And so there's over 1 million nurses that have been nominated for the Daisy Award, and over 100,000 that have received a Daisy Award. It's pretty amazing. And the family, they don't make a dime off of this. They just want to say thank you to nurses and let them know that they make a difference.
Yeah, they do, especially in 2020. They've put themselves at risk and being on the front line to fight COVID while their families were at home, and they were risking themselves. I remember a 21-year-old posted a video that I saw, and she said, they just handed me a will and they asked me to complete this. I'm 21 years old. I never thought at 21 I'd be completing a will. And it made her really nervous.
Yeah.
So I know that has to be a struggle for them in healthcare too. They're scared, but yet they have to exude that compassion for their patients, and it's an unknown. And so with them not understanding how to treat something that's an unknown and still have that compassion, I can only imagine what the Daisy Awards will look like, coming out of 2020 for our healthcare providers.
Well, because when everything happened, I'm still a bedside nurse. I still practice. I work in the emergency department of a large medical center here in St. Louis. And when all of this happened, it wasn't like someone said to hospitals across the country, "Oh, let's just go out and get iPads and turn everything on." And as we talked about, going to Best Buy and trying to get all this. Well, everybody else was trying to get all this technology too. So there were nurses that were pulling out their personal cell phones so that when these people who were in the ICU woke up, that they could get a hold of their family members, because their phones were who knows where. And just all these things that people did, not just nurses, but everybody in the healthcare system, because one day they said no visitors. And we were like, okay, just the magnitude of that and the emotion, and to be able to be connected was really important. And there was no playbook. It just got invented on the fly.
Yeah, it did. And for you to have this drive to really elevate the meaningful, purposeful recognition and gratitude is just amazing that you have that drive. So thank you so much, because if every company had more gratitude and meaningful recognition, their turnover rate would be zero, because people would stay, right, Shari? They would stay. They would be happy at their positions and they wouldn't leave. But when they're continuously pressed and overworked and pushed beyond their means, that's when they start waking up and going, you know what, this hamster wheel thing, it's not for me anymore.
Exactly.
I'm out.
Exactly.
And I know right before I left corporate, one thing I did do was I created a gratitude program, and I pushed and pushed and pushed for this, because you could get so much more out of people if you just recognize them and tell them how much you appreciate them regularly. They will work for free practically if you would just share how much they mean to the company and recognize them for the work that they do. And just say, some of them were like, I would just love it if someone told me thank you
Exactly. Yeah.
once.
Yeah. Instead of saying, well, here's a catalog, pick out a snowblower, it's not about materialistic things.
I don't even want to go there, because I have some stuff in the garage, and I'm not, I'm not even going to go there. I knew when I left, it was time for me to leave.
Yeah.
And I watched other people leave and get, golf clubs that had been there for 2 years, and trips and Tiffany earrings. And I was like, that $350 gift card to the spa after 18 years, huh? Wow. Well, I'll just be on my way. Yeah. And so I just, I love the company I work for. My grandchildren are enrolled, their franchises are enrolled in I believe in the product 1000%. I love the franchise owners. I just like to say I outgrew it and it just wasn't for me anymore. So I don't want to put anyone down that they did anything wrong. I just outgrew corporate, and I'm on to different things. That is where, God needs me to go, and things that I need to do, and where my passion lies.
I think you had a very profound thought when you said that, you outgrew it, because I think what's happened with the nature of work that's changed because of COVID-19, that's going to have such an impact. The organizations that go back to business as usual, I think that they're going to find a big surprise, because we're not people of usual anymore, or rather, let me phrase that better. Usual is evolving, and I don't know what the world is going to look like a year from now, but I know what it's not going to look like.
I say good luck getting them to change out of their yoga pants. That's what I say. Right? To even walk back into an office, because it's, I usually will wear, full with jeans, like I have jeans on, and, but I have to tell you, I rarely wear shoes, and I am a shoe lover. I have like 200 pairs of them. I have heels in every color. I think I was telling Shari and Kim this one. Like, I love dressing up. I love wearing heels. I used to wear different heels. Even though I would wear jeans, I would still wear different heels to work. I'm dusting them now. Like, they're just part of my dusting and cleaning. And I'm thinking, when am I ever going to, I think my husband and I went out to eat, and I put heels on to go out to dinner, because I was like, I need to wear heels, but I don't wear shoes ever, because I never leave the house unless I go to the grocery store or go to the post office. I never leave the house. So it is nice to, dress up or put shoes on every once in a while, but most people have gotten into a more relaxed lifestyle, and to get them back into a different lifestyle is going to be a little different. So I love the message that you brought today. We do really need to bring more compassion, more gratitude, more purposeful meaning recognition. And you do not have to be physically around each other to do that. You can still do that remotely from a distance. And if you want to be able to hold on to the great employees that you have that are still working with you through all of these changes and are still by your side in a company, recognize them, pay attention to what they're doing, show that you appreciate them. That's huge, huge and important.
And that's one of the best things a leader can do right now, is stay connected with the people that work for them and let them know that they matter.
Yeah. Thank you, Cindy. And I know we have your contact information as well, but what is the easiest way for somebody to connect with you?
My email is clefton@q4solutions.com, and you can go to our website. This is q4solutions.com.
Great. And I know we've had several other ladies from your company on our podcast. We just love your organization and what you do and what all of you stand for. So thank you so much for being with us today. I'm excited. We have Rachel Brown with us next week on Wednesday, August 26th. Rachel Brown's awesome. She owns a company called Synergy Group Marketing Solutions. So I'm really excited about interviewing her. And then Carrie Connolly is a vision expert. So she talks about vision is victory. She's a coach, she's an author, and she just became a grandmother this year. Very first time. She's had a hard life, and network marketing is where she found her start. and where she built her business and then started coaching women and then eventually moved into being a coach. But she has an amazing story. Her husband and son have both passed away, and it's just her and her daughter left. And so she will be on our podcast next week. So I hope you guys join us. And I want to just leave you with these few words. Remember, you are the only you that has ever been, and you are the only you that will ever be. So how you pioneer your life and your future is up to you. No one's coming to give you permission. So give yourself the permission to live the life you desire. So ladies, thank you so much for being with me this week. It was such a pleasure. I'm super excited that we had this opportunity, and we'll see you all next week. Have a wonderful week. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody on Facebook.